The next film on the list is The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. Now, you and I had a chance to see that the other day.
Yes, we did.
So, what did you? Let's first ask Maggie what she thought about the third and final foreign version of the Stieg Larsson trilogy.
First of all, I would say if you were to go watch it, you must see the first two. It's not one of these ones you can just pick up at the end. I don't really can describe it really. Apparently, well, it's not as gruesome as the first one. The second one wasn't either, and the third one was even less, I would say. A lot less, actually. There was no sexual content to it, and not much violence at all. Which was, for me, it's probably kind of nice. And so it's more based on the story rather than shock. I would really recommend to see it. Reading the subtitles sometimes could be it would put you off, but I didn't feel it did, and I really stuck with it. And it's quite a long movie. I think it's 2.5 hours, and the time went really, really quickly. And I can't really go into the story because it's a very complex story, and like I say, you have to watch the first two.
Well, it's the continuing story of Lisbeth Salander and Mikael, Blomquist, and he's the writer for the Millennium magazine. And Salander is is a researcher that aided him in the first movie, where they were investigating this offshoot of the Nazis. The second movie was a bridge to the third movie, introduced us to Salander's father, who she set afire when she was a child. So now there is this problem in the third movie for Salander, where she is being accused of attempted murder of her own father, who apparently survived. You can learn this from the trailer. And is now using his influence with the government to bring a prosecution against her. And so most of the movie really plays like a courtroom procedural. This movie is the first of the series that I feel is going to be toned up for the American version. You do know that it's being remade here in America. I think David Fincher is going to be the director. This one is much more toned down. It's a very dense storyline. I think that some audiences will be a little restless because it is 2.5 hours.
It was very captivating for me, and that takes a lot at times to captivate me in certain movies, and I was very entertained by it on a mental level, and I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, it was challenging at times because the whole story is really, really involved. You have a massive cast of characters, and it takes its time telling us who those characters are. And unlike an American film or U.S. film out of Hollywood that would be really big and give us a lot of action set pieces, while we have action in this film, it's much smaller. Let's take a look at the trailer for The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest.
This year, the unmissable final chapter of the most talked about cinematic event is finally here. Based on the international bestseller by Stieg Larsson, the full-blown literary and movie phenomenon of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo will be concluded.
I think we should end this by talking about a movie. Maggie has introduced me to Mark Kermode and his videos on the web from the BBC, where he's reviewing movies and he's telling us about stuff. And I have to honestly say he's educating me every day, so I'm a big fan of him as a critic. I caught the other day a bit he was talking about a movie that was at the Tribeca Film Festival this year. The movie is called The Arbor, and it's a documentary about a playwright called Andrea Dunbar, who has now passed away. According to Kermode, and then I did a little research reading about this, the movie takes audio recordings of people who knew her and knew about events in her life, and then it takes actors and it uses those actors to lip sync to the audio recordings that were made, and they string them together in some sort of narrative about Andrea Dunbar's life. And we saw some clips which I was not able to find on the web. I'm going to show you guys the trailer, and I don't think it properly, shows what they're doing. But basically, it's a hybrid documentary where we get dramatized versions of what this person's life was all about, and from people talking about her, but actors actually playing those characters. I don't know if you can wrap your brain around all of that.
Yeah, it's the people that knew her, voices, which are real and have their own story and their own take on each story that Andrea was involved in and was involved in their lives.
They do a voice loop where the actors actually know the words, they mouth the words, they may even sell the words, but they might even say the words, but their audio is replaced with the actual audio of the character. So in a traditional documentary, you would have the actual person sitting there being interviewed. In this, they actually dramatize the events and use the person's voice in the voice of the actors. So let's take
a bit like a animated movie.
Yeah, a bit like an animated movie. I know that Kermode mentioned Waltz with Bashir, which was a documentary came out a few years ago where they animated the people that they interviewed, and they actually tried to create a story. I found that very, very interesting. It was well regarded. So, this is not necessarily the first time this idea has been used, but I have not seen the clips that I saw in Kermode. I have not seen that kind of thing done before. Here's the trailer for The Arbor. We'll watch that in just a second. You can join us on the web by going to dailyfilmfix.com, where you can feed your movie addiction, and the trailer for The Arbor will take us away.
When we were kids, we never knew what she was doing, but she used to stay up late and just write and write and write and write.
It was an extraordinary first interview with a writer, because she'd never been out of Yorkshire before, never been in a theatre.
Dear Max, I'm sending you the bit of writing I've done. It's not much really. That's because I've had to take Lorraine out of the nursery.
I think it must have been hard for her to have a mixed race child on a white and very racist estate. If she was alive today, I'd have a lot to say to her.